Greetings from Nebraska. I'm Holly Zimmerman. I'm the director of the Genetic Counseling Program here at UNMC.
And I am Sarah Fisher. I'm the assistant program director. And Holly and I wanted to share a little bit about our story as well as a little bit of history of our genetic counseling program.
So I wanted to start first with this picture. I love this picture. It's me and Sarah at the professionalism ceremony for our very first class of genetic counseling students. This was in 2019. This is a ceremony that happens every year. It's a fabulous way to start the year. Our students each receive a white coat, and it's just a really great way to start the year. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story to get to Nebraska. I'm born and raised in Mississippi. I earned a biology degree at the University of Southern Mississippi, and from there went to South Carolina to earn my master's in genetic counseling degree. Once I graduated, I returned to Mississippi, where I worked as a general and pediatric genetic counselor for 10 years. I was able to become faculty there because of my teaching effort. And even though I wasn't working directly with the genetic counseling students, I did have the opportunity to work with med students and residents. And I did serve as a summer supervisor for some genetic counseling students. I had the opportunity, because of all my educational roles, to really look into this position here at UNMC. And when I interviewed and really got to know the campus, it just seemed like an incredible place to have a program. And I was really excited for that opportunity. So, for those of you who don't know, this is Mississippi. So, this is where I was born and raised with the star. Kind of made my way over here to Omaha, Nebraska, right here. So, you can see we're kind of right in the heartland of the country. And that's where I first met Sarah.
I grew up just across the river from Omaha in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and spent the majority of my undergrad and graduate time in the Midwest. And I have been really lucky enough to come back here and work for a lot of years now in a lot of different areas. But let me just go back for a second, talk about kind of where I was. For Wartburg College, I had my biology degree from Wartburg, which is a real small school in Northeast Iowa. And then for graduate school, I went to the University of Wisconsin at Madison. But in between those two, I worked for a year at the Human Genetics Laboratory here at University of Nebraska Medical Center. And that year was just such a wonderful learning experience. I really got to know a lot of the genetic counselors and a lot of the genetics physicians and the laboratory staff. And really, for me, that was a really, really great opportunity that I would not have had if I went directly from undergrad to graduate school. So I look to that as being a really important part of my journey.
So I know we've talked a little bit about our own stories. So Sarah and I thought we would kind of share of why. Why did we do this? Or why did we take this position? And so for me, I know that students thrive in a really positive environment and a supportive environment. And that was something that I knew I wanted to be a part of. I love the idea of working with kind of future colleagues and really helping students identify their unique strengths and their unique skills that they bring to our profession. So I was so excited, and it continues to uh, kind of circle and continue to inspire me the more I work with our students. And you guys may know that our first class graduates this May, and it's just been an incredible journey.
So when I was in graduate school, part of the reason I wanted to become a genetic counselor was to work with patients. And so I really never imagined myself working in any other position. And I thought I was full-time. Patient care is really what my passion was. Over the course of the almost 17 years of working here at UNMC, I've worked with a lot of other learners. Similar to Holly, I've worked with PA students or family medicine or OB residents. And during that time, I really enjoyed the teaching aspect, and I really wanted to be more of a part and have more of a stamp on how we would really train our genetic counseling future colleagues. And so that has become something that I didn't realize how passionate I was until I got the opportunity for this position.
So you can hear our excitement in the work that we do. And so, just a little bit of background. I think it's important to know the presence of genetics and genetic counseling in Nebraska from a very early point. in kind of the genetic counseling timeline. So just to review, in 1969 was the very first class of genetic counselors at Sarah Lawrence in New York. Around the same time, the genetics laboratory was established here at UNMC, and the very first genetic counselor was employed in Nebraska. If we fast forward a little bit, we had 3 genetic counselors and growing kind of in the early 80s. We got licensure in 2012, one of the first states to get that licensure. And then we had our inaugural class start in 2019. So I think it's just really cool and maybe an unspoken timeline or history uh, that we have here in Nebraska that is really exciting to be a part of. Of course, before we had our inaugural class start in 2019, a lot of work happened. I mentioned I joined in 2017, Sarah joined in 2018, but a lot of different approvals happened before that. And Dean Meyer in the College of Allied Health and Director Coralie Mirnix over at Monroe Meyer Institute, where our genetics colleagues are employed, these two really worked hard to make this happen. So when Sarah and I came on board, it was really getting accreditation um, through ACGC rather than all of these other approvals. So Dean Meyer and Director Mirnix are just champions for our program as well, and I want to point them out.
So we really have a unique model for education, even within some of the educational programs on UNMC's campus. Our program is housed in the College of Allied Health Professions, and it's in partnership with the Monroe Meyer Institute called MMI. And MMI has really, for many, many years, housed the genetic medicine and the UNMC Human Genetics Laboratory. And it's really this partnership with them and with the community partners that we've gathered that has allowed us to really have access to valuable educators and resources from all these different places. It's it's really nice to have that support from our community. We have those community partners, Blue Cross Blue Shield, who actually take students as part of a field work placement. We have Boys Town, Children's, Methodist, Nebraska Medicine, where a lot of our direct patient care is happening. But also there's just a lot of opportunities for them to learn from us as much as we're learning from them. For our program and what it makes kind of, how do we stand out from other programs in genetic counseling? Because there are a lot of different places across the country and a lot of different models in how to educate and research, work with research and field work placements. We're really lucky, as I mentioned, we've kind of already talked about the community partners and the Human Genetics Laboratory, and home-based rotations is something we want to really point out. That's something that we are very lucky to have the majority of our placements to be really local to Omaha. So our students don't have to necessarily travel all over the place for those placements to occur. We also have a really passionate team of genetic counselors that are on campus as well as just in the surrounding areas with many different specialty areas and many, many years of experience. We're lucky to have this really amazing simulation center where we can work with standardized patients even before and during early time of placements to really practice and hone skills without the stress level of being in front of that patient as you practice some of those newer skills. And that academic medical center, it's not something that every program has available. We have so many resources and a fabulous library and all these other programs that really we gain from them as, again, as much as we want to share with our kind of local area. And lend and scholarships are also something that not every program has access to lend, and there'll be other videos that talk about those details.
And in case you didn't know, Omaha is also home of the College World Series, which is a baseball competition for colleges. And around the year I was interviewing for this position, all 3 teams from Mississippi, which are represented here in the cartoon, were getting very close to making it to the College World Series. And so this was a really fun cartoon that came out around the time that I too was from Mississippi wanting to go to Omaha. Finally, we want to thank you for your interest in our program. Thank you for listening to us share our story and our passion for what we do. Take care. Bye.